It's Market Day Report. Now, our next guest is going to, work us through some challenges we're seeing right now. There are opportunities, but there are challenges as well, and maybe China has something to do with that. Okay, before we get there, let's look at the corn market, and we're still lower here. After 4 straight days higher, even a flash sale to Mexico reported today. 11.3 million, not metric tons, 11.3 million bushels. The December trades 5.5 lower, 443 and a quarter. Soybeans been higher 3 straight sessions, double-digit losses on the old crop, while November loses 9, 1140 and a quarter. Staying here in the complex, how about soy meal? Soy meal contracts are lower for the 2nd straight day, and then we have bean oil falling for the 4th straight session. We've been down as low as 64, nearly 64.5 on the December contract. It's back up to 65, but this thing is just getting hammered right now. Wheat market, it's been higher 3 straight sessions, pull back here with July at 606. Hard red is trading down 7 and a quarter, 645 and a quarter, and even the cotton market lower. So everything pretty much in the red here, 79.47, down 32. In spite of China buying U.S. soybeans, Chip Nellinger's owner of Blue Reef Agri Marketing. You'd think China soybeans purchase, and that would give a shot in the arm here, but not really.
Well, not really yet, Tony. I think a couple things at play here. We saw some of those rumors earlier in the week. I remember Sunday night we were 10 cents lower and then opened 6 or 8 cents higher. That was on some of these Chinese rumors. So we are seeing the confirmation of that. We had a couple sales to unknown, but also a confirmed flash sale this morning to China of U.S. beans. That is good to see. I think if it weren't for soy oil getting just absolutely pummeled the last 2 sessions, that you would be steady to higher on the day in beans. But we're seeing some of that spec money pull out of soy oil. It came in on the long side, as part of this Iran escalation of the war, and crude oil surging above $100 a barrel. Now we're back in the mid to low 70s in crude oil, and some of that speculative money is getting pulled back out of the soy oil market. Once that's complete, I do really think that this Chinese business this week is something that can give us some stability in these markets. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go immediately higher, but it'd be hard to be short from these levels, knowing that China is back in the market for U.S. beans in here this week and likely to remain so for the coming future.
Hey, Chip, we really haven't had a weather story at this point, at least here in the U.S., at least on corn and beans. But are we getting close yet?
Well, arguably here, I think that's part of it as well. When when traders look at the radar and see rain in June, it's hard to buy the market, and it's easy to sell the market. But I can tell you here in Illinois, parts of Indiana, parts of Wisconsin, Michigan, I just know here locally, in not a small area, we've had on the low side 9 inches of rain. On the high side, I've heard 13 plus inches of rain in the last 10 days. Very few times will you ever hear a farmer say, I don't want any more rain. We are at that stage, and probably the low-lying areas are out now, so we've lost the low-lying areas of fields. The smaller beans, which there's a lot of, ankle high, are not taking all this rain very nicely. But it's going to take a while to sift that through the equation here. Otherwise, rain makes grain in traders' minds. But I can tell you here in the Eastern Corn Belt, there's many areas that have had too much rain at this point in time in the month of June.
Well, Chip, if this keeps it up, I guess we'll have to start talking cranberries or something, something with that needs a lot of water. Or maybe you just go rice and crawfish there in the lower lying areas. Hang on just a moment, Chip. We'll come back and we'll talk livestock futures, not crawfish, but we will talk livestock futures with Chip Nellinger on Market Day Report. We're still watching for cash trade to develop, so we'll keep an eye on that and keep an eye on what's happening with this June live cattle contract. It's still in the red. We're down 22 at 255.50, and the August trades at 248.40. It's off 45. That August is most active. Feeders, August up 75 at 368.17. Now, this is just a fractional move. Remember, everything's in positive territory, but to put it into perspective, here's the past 5 days. And yeah, you can see we're up nearly $7.50 over the last 5 days. Coming off of that dip we had on Friday, and we're heading into a USDA report. Cattle on feed, 3 p.m. Eastern today. Hog market, yeah, we're still lower July and August, and higher territory, fractionally higher at this point. Chip Nelligers with Blue Reef Agri Marketing, and I promised no crawfish market here for you, but when we do look at hogs and we look at beef, what's your thought?
Yeah, boy, the cattle complex have had really kind of a quiet week, to be honest with you, at least from a news perspective. We probably got a little too deep in the break last week. That was probably rightfully so, off of some additional screwworm news. We're still battling some questions about labor and plant closure issues. So the market sold off pretty hard. We bounced back, tried to sell off earlier today ahead of this long weekend. But it looks like cash is going to be steady, and that's the king right now. So this market is trading very nicely off its lows. You mentioned feeders in higher territory, $3+ off the lows. So I think the cattle complex for the time being is going to go into this long weekend on a pretty solid note. Unfortunately, the hog market, you can't say the same. We're very deeply oversold. We're selling off aggressively at a time where we should be rallying on good demand. Relatively speaking, I understand it because we started way north of $100 a few months ago on these summer months, still in the 90s, but boy, we just can't catch a break on the hog side to find any stability in here.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about producers here on the hog side who, again, had to deal with months, years of these challenges. Thought things were starting to turn around, and here we are back with lower prices. Chip, thanks for popping in. Chip Nellinger, Blue Reef Agri Marketing. And we also don't talk about turkey